been another exciting year for Learning Pool, another acquisition, a lot of product release. So we thought it was a good time to update the company backstory and bring back together the CEO of Learning Pool, of Remote Learner, our latest acquisition, and our group CEO, Paul, to reflect on Learning Pool in 2021 and look at what's next. So, Paul, I'm gonna start with you if that's okay. So, I guess the obvious question first. It's been a year of COVID trading now. What's that been like?
I think the summary, Hannah, is probably we've had a good year in tough conditions. I guess no one was really prepared for what we faced last year and what we continue to face this year. But I think as a team, we've adapted really well, and as our customer needs have changed, I'm actually really proud of the work the team has done to keep pace with that, pivot at a moment's notice, and do it all while homeschooling young children. So the business has moved at a pace and moved on a pace. So I think we're really happy with where we are, and very grateful for the work of the team and the support of our customers through what's been, let's face it, a year that none of us want to relive.
Another year, though, another acquisition. Do you want to tell us a bit about the Remote Learner deal?
Yeah, the latest acquisition is our first in North America. It's also our first to complete in a pandemic, which brought its own challenges. But when all that strips away, we're really excited to welcome Paige and her team at Remote Learner into the business. Remote Learner was a business that we've admired from a distance for many years, and when we started talking over Zoom, obviously, during the summer of last year, it was sort of quickly apparent that these are two businesses that believe in the same things and think of life in a similar way. So we were really pleased to put them together in December, and 3 months later, we're really starting to see the value of putting the two teams together, working side by side. We're rolling out some really interesting solutions for some of our joint customers, and we're getting on really well. So it's been really unusual. None of us have a clue what height each of us are, because we've never met face to face very much. But despite that as a challenge, the Remote Learner acquisition is a really important part of the story, and it's an important part of our story, I think, for our customers in North America, but it's also an important part of the story for the base customer base in the UK, because Remote Learner brings huge capability really around that core LMS offering, and we're very excited about where we're going to be able to take our LMS product alongside our LXP and the Learning Record Store and the content offering this year. Sorry. So I think it's all good and lots to look forward to.
So talking about Paige, welcome to Paige. I thought you might tell us a little bit about Remote Learner and the team.
Hi. It has been it's been an exciting journey in kind of getting to this point and joining the Learning Pool family, and I use that word family on purpose because I think that's the vibe that we have at Remote Learner, and it certainly feels that the cultural fit between the organizations has been there, which is amazing when you think it's two completely different cultures, right? Between North America and the groups in the UK. But we've enjoyed the process of getting here. The history of Remote Learner is one where we've been playing in the open source space for a decade and a half or more, starting out in Moodle, one of the original Moodle partners, and really have always been passionate about that journey. Strong roots in the EDU space, continued evolution, both with our own product set as well as moving into other enterprise LMS solutions as of late, and continuing to grow in the corporate space, but always still really loyal to our academic roots in our approach and what we do. So it's been really an interesting process to bring that into the Learning Pool conversation, and some of our product solutions and our design strategies really have been able to help sort of expand some of that. And those are conversations, Anna, that we've been enjoying having with you and your team specifically as we look at kind of the way that two different groups solve similar problems different ways, right? So that's been exciting. One of the pieces that I think is pretty unique about Remote Learner, and quite frankly, is probably one of the reasons why the acquisition worked at the timing that it worked, is we have always been 100% distributed. So we were work from home before work from home was cool. And I don't know that for Paul and the team at Learning Pool, acquiring a company that was completely distributed would have felt feasible a year ago. It would have seemed ridiculous, impossible. How could that even work? Which of course is ironic given what we do is provide remote training solutions. But I think it felt more natural. Our team was already used to communicating virtually in this way. And of course, the Learning Pool team in this past year had to quickly learn how to do that. And that really helped facilitate taking away what would have been a barrier to bringing two very like-minded organizations together to be able to make it possible. So that's one of the unique things about us is, a company called Remote Learner, we practice what we preach in that we truly do embrace that. And it's been an exciting journey in these first couple months. Feels like longer as the team and the momentum has been moving so quickly, almost too quickly. If you can believe, we're telling our customers and our staff to maybe slow down a little bit, but the enthusiasm has been so tremendous. And it just really validates the choice that we made in wanting to join with Learning Pool, and certainly the choice that Learning Pool made in wanting to take the risk on this little distributed company over here in North America. Maybe not so little, we hold our own, but it's been a good journey so far.
So bringing Remote Learner into the group obviously created some changes for the senior management team and some change of focus. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so the business probably quadrupled in size in the last 4 years, and I'm still the founder. I guess I'll always be the founder. But it felt like bringing Paige and the team in felt like a great time to restructure the business. For me personally, it was an important thing for me to do. But I think more importantly than that, it was about creating some space really for lots of people in the business to step up and take more responsibility and build out their own careers. So it's really about creating that space so that we can grow into the next phase of Learning Pool, and it's been great. We've been able to promote some highly capable people like yourself, Anna, already, and there's loads more of that to come. So I think we're all sort of growing into some new job titles around here at the moment, and that brings its own challenges. But the underlying message is that we're continuing to grow and expect that to be the default for the next few years. So the management team hopefully reflects that now.
I'm going to go to you, Ben, now. So Ben, now CEO of Learning Pool. It's been 18 months since we did this before, and HT2 had just been acquired by Learning Pool at that point. Mm-hmm. Do you want to tell us a bit about how that integration went?
Yeah, I've not done it before, so I don't know what good looks like, but I think it was pretty good. I think as we reflect back on it, we've seen, as Paul mentioned, a lot of personal growth on both sides. It was an acquisition. Learning Pool took HT2 into the fold, and we went on the Learning Pool journey. But at the same time, there were elements that the Learning Pool colleagues were open to changing and doing differently, where we'd perhaps done things in a different and potentially different way that would add value. So that was nice to see that it went both ways. It wasn't just kind of the Learning Pool way or the highway. And then we've seen a lot of personal growth for me, for you, and for a whole host of folks up and down the organisation who've been able to take on more responsibility, take responsibility for more people, for bigger projects. We've gone from a company that was pushing just a few million to one that's in the tens and 20s and 30s and onwards. So now we're in a completely different sphere. We went from being a scrappy small startup to a strategic leader. And that's been, frankly, quite an exciting and career-defining journey for many of us.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your customers and where you think they'll see the most benefit of the acquisition.
I think for us, it's always been about being able to bring the right solutions to the customer and to be able to work inside of an organization where we get to own that solution journey differently has been a really exciting pivot for us. There's a lot within the LMS that of course is the base for where we sit. But within the customers, a lot of them are still on Moodle and they've not moved into an enterprise solution. And by joining up with Learning Pool, we have access to the Learning Pool LMS that actually is still based in Moodle, instantly gives them this shot in the arm of features and benefits that don't necessarily have to change budget unless they want to grow and expand in their solution. So there's this wonderful influx there. Plus, right? Then, let me tell you about the rest of the suite that comes with this toolbox that we have available, the content options. Several of our larger, more enterprise accounts are already interested in what we can do within Learning Locker and XAPI and have been asking questions about the LXP. So immediately we have people looking to do that. Some of our earliest expansion opportunities here in the first couple of months have been institutions wanting to make that move into the LXP, which is really exciting to see that hypothesis that these tools are going to resonate with our customers is proving out so thoroughly and so early that it's the biggest constraint we have is getting enough information to everybody fast enough and getting them the demos and letting everybody see the pieces that they're so excited for.
So more of that then. So where do you think the biggest potential for Learning Pool for us as we scale up for the US is?
Biggest potential? Well, that's a small question. The biggest potential is I think the market is ready. We are poised to be able to look for opportunities where people are ready to do better, ready to increase the benefits to the learner experience, whether it is through our learning experience platform Stream, or whether it is through the improvements of the learning experience that feed into the LMS. I think the opportunity in the US, especially after this last year, is people want a better experience. They want to feel as though the tool increases the positive experience versus the tool limits an experience that they're not able to have in other areas. And I think the work that Learning Pool already has in place and their products within the suite of solutions, coupled with the philosophy and strategy that Remote Learner has always held so true to, it really brings this wonderful synergy to be able to come to the North American market and say, okay, we have the tools, we have the strategy, we have the expertise to say we can show you a way to do it better. And then, oh, by the way, we can show you the data that proves that we're really pulling it off. And I think the market is ready and eager and desperate for that story.
Can you pick out one big achievement or standout moment in the last 18 months or so?
It's kind of tricky to look at just one moment, but I think for me, the fruits of our labor to begin with were about merging the two product sets and taking Stream to market for the first time. That's a big achievement in itself, but the real achievement comes when you're able to deploy it at scale with paying customers for the first time. And we've been able to do that and then some. So, at this point, we're busy deploying our first million user sort of take of the Stream Learning Experience platform, which is a very significant milestone for any company putting an LXP in anywhere. That to me is the proof that we've not just managed to kind of mush these two products together in an old way, we've done it in an industry defining way that somebody has seen can really scale. So I think that has to be my defining moment, the opportunity to deploy the dream of what we had at HG2 with what Learning Pool brought to us and do it at real scale. That's been something special.
So apart from bringing it together, the product set has changed quite a bit over the last year and a half anyway. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so we face off into the market with what we perceive to be the greatest end-to-end product offering of any learning technology company now, which was kind of the goal when we set about it in the first place. So no matter what your problem is, we believe that we have the tool set to be able to deliver on that. And that could be platform, anything in the learning experience department, we believe we've got covered. It could be content, both the off-the-shelf and our custom business, which has been doing phenomenal work, especially over the last 12 months. The team has been knocking out of the park. And on the data and insights end, where increasingly we're starting to see customers that are not just interested in visualizing and reporting on data, but are pushing towards the upper ends of what we'd call the learning analytics maturity model and getting into automation and starting to really make a difference in terms of personalized, relevant learning using data behind the scenes there. So, I think that complete end-to-end suite is what we can deliver. And it's important that folks realize that when they ring up and start to talk to us, that we don't necessarily have the preconception in mind that we must sell you Stream or we must sell you Learning Locker or we must sell you the LMS. That's really not the way that our business development experts sort of go about things. Our solutions engineers are there to sort of understand the business problem and then recommend the best path forward. And it doesn't have to be any one or any three of those routines, but it tends to be that somewhere in the mix, we can put something together that delivers at a lower total cost of ownership than any of our competitors and does so in a time and with a minimum of fuss that people find really appealing.
Well, we're talking about products, let's talk a little bit about where they start from. So we've had 2 rounds of Learning Pool Labs now, our sort of internal incubator for innovation. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the ideas that have come through, that are coming through?
Yeah, so Learning Pool Labs is this idea that anyone from around the Learning Pool business, we're more than 260 employees now, can work and contribute on an idea that they think would be redefining in the way that we do business. And so each year we open this up, we generally have themes that we're looking for submissions on, and we solicit ideas from across the business. So folks work in teams to submit, there's a shortlisting process, and then there's a kind of Dragon's Den style day where the shortlisted folks present their ideas, and a sort of board level look from Learning Pool comes in to sort of put their money on the table, as it were, and back the ideas. So this year we had a more than one winner, to be honest. There was one ultimate winner that we call Nile, which is our natural interaction language engine. So this is an idea about how can we not just make our products accessible, but how can we do it in a way that goes beyond what anybody else is delivering in the market? And so we're now in the midst of scoping the work that goes into that so that people can use their voice to control our system from end to end. We also looked at some data issues in terms of how can we help people understand their learning design a bit better and use some of the XAPI data that we get from both our content, both custom and off the shelf, as well as from Adapt as a whole, to offer benchmarking services back to clients to suggest where they might improve, whether their questions, their assessments and things like that are easier, harder, the same as other folks who are pushing content out. So just giving a level of insight into not just how you might be able to do something better from a learning design point of view, but how your audience is receiving stuff compared to other people, maybe in similar or different industries. These are the sorts of services that other people aren't thinking about, as far as we can see, and aren't touching, and are starting to redefine the way that we think and do business. And it's all coming from Learning Pool staff, from folks who are on the front line every day and see better ways of doing things. That's the idea of Learning Pool Labs.
So Paul, I'm just going to come back to you at the end. I guess the question to end with is what's next? Can you tell us a bit what we can expect in the next couple of years?
I think the next couple of years for Learning Pool is about delivering on the promise that we've created for our customers, really. I think the next couple of years will be in the market about, there's been a surge towards online learning, and that's been driven by the pandemic. Our customers are getting more and more use out of what we have. So our challenge as a business is to make sure that delivers on its promise for them. And I think that's a big enough challenge for us actually over the next couple of years to deal with. And I think if we treat that challenge head on and we deal with it in the right way, our customers will get great value, and our team will get all the opportunities for personal growth and job satisfaction that they need. And honestly, I think that's enough.
I think it's just do more. So the scalability option, and there's so, I don't even want to just say so much opportunity in North America. There's so much need to just bring people that better promise of a valuable, meaningful learning experience. And there's been so many organizations, we see this even in the academic space, where online learning has not been done as well because it was more pandemic learning, right? It was a race to put that label on it. So to me, it's about that opportunity to not just keep the promise and bring the value, but to bring it to more people to be able to show them, that what a better way can look like.
Lots of us have found out how in sort of kids' education, the technology they've got isn't great, and we've all lamented school management systems and homework online and stuff. So the pandemic's really exposed that as a problem in schools, and we've all become very aware of that. But Paige is right; that's happening in workplaces too, and people deserve better and they need better because who knows what normal is going to look like, right? So good workplace learning that solves real business problems and helps people perform better is going to be really important, I think, for the next wave of this.
Okay, that's great. Thank you all very much for talking to us today.